What's up, ultra happy people? I am your host, ultra runner, and Tania, here with your magnificent co-host, Andy.
Andy,
you were expecting a different magnificent host. There's not.
I'm getting to the point I don't know what to say anymore when you do that. I feel like I should do. I feel like I should have, like a theme music or something.
I see your eyes. I'm like, what the hell are you going to say now?
What am I going to do today?
Why are you copying me today? Your outfit, what do you want to be me or what's happening?
I am not. I believe I was ready before you today.
We're wearing the same color.
Well, it's not the same color. It's a bit. Yours is more pink and mine is more orange.
It's orange. All right, people. How everyone's been? I haven't asked that for a while.
I know you've not asked that.
I know.
I used to wind you up about it.
I know. Probably that's why I don't want to ask it anymore. We are live in Instagram. If you follow me, follow me. So sometimes we'll pop up in there live and you can go ahead and ask questions. So anyone live, you can go ahead and ask some questions. And little quick roadmap for today's episode, because today's episode it's an exciting one for me, I think.
And me.
Yeah, for you as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's begin. Let's start from the beginning.
I start from the beginning.
Oh God, what happened? Okay, we will start talking about the incredible experience of running in Cocodona. The Cocodona250. I didn't want to say like I finished it because you know how this ends, right? Obviously, but I think I have to walk you all through the whole experience because it was awesome and it's one of my absolute favorite races now.
But you know what? I said it last week. It is like a proper story. It's like a story where you've got all these things that happened, all the things that we didn't expect, things that we planned for, things we couldn't plan for. It feels like a proper story.
So we are going to tell you all the stories, also from meeting the queen of the trail and ultra trails, Courtney the Walker, to meeting, I'm a big fan of Andrew Glaze. If you're in ultra running, obviously you know him as well. So and all these other people that I follow in social media, because obviously I'm in this side of the world, I don't get to see often, or I don't get to, So suddenly I'm there and I'm seeing everyone that I follow in the other side of the world. Probably look like a crazy person just running around and asking for photos. But
that's the funny thing about social media is that when you get to meet people, I always think to myself, it's like they're kind of semi-famous, I guess. And I think to myself, oh my God, that's amazing. I'm meeting you. You're much shorter than I thought you would be.
I think it's weird because I feel like I know them.
Yeah.
And obviously, that happens because it has happened the other way as well. When someone just met me and they're like, I feel like I know you. Yeah. Even you. When they come to you, it's like, that's you, Auntie.
Yes, Auntie.
So it's,
I always feel a bit awkward. I'm like, yeah.
I know. It's me. I hope I'm like fulfilling all your expectations.
But the funny thing is, I was always saying it. I always think to myself, oh God, you're a bit shorter than I thought. Courtney was a lot taller than I thought she would be.
Do you think it was?
She was really tall.
I don't know. I was just too in shock.
I
was like,
the pictures are brilliant.
Oh my God. Yeah, we'll talk to you all about that day and a little bit about the previous day of the race. Also, how I came about signing up for something so scary and so stupid, like Cocodona250. 250 is 250 miles, 410 kilometers through Phoenix to Flagstaff. It's a race that has become a little bit big in the space now. If you get a chance, Google it.
It's one of the bucket list races now for runners.
I know, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like if you're in this world, I think you've heard about it, and if you're just new in this world, I think it's something that maybe you want to start maybe Googling about, because you may actually like it.
We actually had Steve, the race director, on for Cocodona on the podcast, who is an absolute amazing guy. So nice. It might be worthwhile going back to that podcast. We might actually leave a link there for you to have a look at.
That's good. And then we're also going to talk about what a horrible weekend I had again.
You had?
I haven't got a break, man. But you've had awesome training weekends, so that's good for you. Yeah, well done.
We'll talk about the animals.
Yeah, well done. Good for you.
Talk about that.
And that's it. We're going to start digging deep into Cocodona250, and I'm so excited to share it all with you, as you always know. So if you have any questions about the race, we'll start talking about it, like I said, in this coming probably 3 or 4 episodes. So feel free to reach out, send your questions, and I'll try my best to answer them and share if there's that's something that you may want to know also. This is the time where you want to shoot your questions.
Or any pacer or crew questions.
Oh, yeah.
I can answer them.
Andy is like the person to ask, because he survived not only the race, but he survived 10 years living with a nutcase like me. So, yeah.
That's the hardest part.
Exactly. It's not about that race. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I don't know. Have you survived next to me for 10 years? So,
11 this year.
I guess.
Jeez.
11 this year. So, yeah, maybe, I know we're talking about Cocodona, but if you want to ask anything else, I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, how do I survive with this person? So, yeah, let's start, obviously, with Andy's facts.
That was quick.
By Andy.
That was quick.
Oh,
right,
okay.
Not ready. And I wasn't ready there. I wasn't ready. Right, okay. So I thought that we would talk about sleep deprivation because over the weekend, which we'll explain a little bit sooner. But also because it plays a big factor of Cocodona's story.
Yes.
Because we had lots of issues for everybody.
God, I'm not going to tell you the whole thing, but I was hallucinating.
Hold on, right? Because it'll be interesting for you to pick up on some of these, right? Because we've not discussed this before.
I know. I love Andy's facts because I never know what he's going to say. So it's like, it's always
and again this week, same as last week, I've got a funny bonus.
Okay, bonus facts.
Right, okay. So one night of bad sleep can reduce endurance performance by up to 10%. Science says a 2017 study in the European Journal of Sports Science found that athletes who slept less than 6 hours the night before an endurance trial had significantly lower time to exhaustion, VO2 max, and motivation. Why this matters? Even a single short night affects your energy systems and pacing control. So before race day, sleep is part of your taper, not just recovery.
Yes, correct. And I was actually listening or read, I'm not going to put it that person, but this person, they are getting ready to do, I think it's a very long race. I think it's like a 100K, but it's over 2 days. It's like over 30 hours kind of race. And I was reading that she was training sleep deprivation, and like she was just running through the night for a couple of weekends now, trying to, in her head, I guess they're trying to train sleep deprivation. And I did wanted to speak a little bit about this. There is not such a thing as training for that in particular. There is 100%. No studies that support that sleep deprivation, that you can train to be better at sleep deprivation. On the contrary, like you just said, it actually backfires really bad. Like your training is not going to be point. I do understand if you want to try to run in at night because maybe you want to test your headlamp and your gear, and you want to, maybe I know it's scary, so you want to kind of like get used to being in the dark and alone, and I understand that, but I do not support the training in like being in a sleep deficit. I think that could lead even worse to injury or just some like, if you're not 100% and you're not focused, you can even fall, have a like, just steady on. Dangerous. Yeah.
Well, it's not in Andy's facts. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
But when I was reading about it, the problem is a common misconception that it is something you can train yourself to do. But it's not just about the body, the fatigue, the brain. It's everything starts slowing down. Yeah. There's heat regulation, everything, which I'll touch on in a wee second.
It's actually
but it's interesting you say that. Really,
it's actually better if you have upcoming a challenge like that you know that you're going to be in that kind of like deficit. It's actually better to bank on sleep previously, even for the race or for a training day or whatever. Just bank on sleep that week and then do that training run or race. And you're going to have some, let's say, sleep in the bank, and you will be able to perform better.
Well, next one is chronic sleep loss increases injury risk by up to 1.7%. We talked about that before. Science says research from Stanford and published in Sleep Health shows that athletes sleeping less than 8 hours per night are 1.7 times more likely to get injured than those sleeping 8 to 9 hours.
See what I mean?
Why it matters? Sleep isn't just for energy. It's when tissues repair. Skimp on it during training blocks or multi-day events and you're rolling the dice with a tendon or muscle damage. We actually talked about it in Andy's Facts a long time ago, this one, but I thought it was, it's super important, isn't it?
It is tough to be not like sleep deprived. Obviously, if you're like doing a stage race like I was doing, there's not much you can do, but as much as you can do is sleep before the whole week. I try to bang the sleep. That's why taper week is so important, because that's the week where you're kind of like putting those extra hours of sleep.
Cool. Next one is sleep deprivation shrinks your brain's ability to make good decisions.
Shrinks my brain?
Yeah, well, yours already shrunk already. Don't worry about it. Science says MRI studies from the Nature Neuroscience show that lack of sleep weakens the prefrontal cortex, which handles judgment, impulses, control, and emotional regulation. Why it matters? During ultras or expedition style races, poor decisions, for example, missed turns, bad fueling, pushing too hard, often come down to one thing: you're too tired and can't think straight.
I agree.
Me too. Literally, you get 4 hours sleep at night, so that might be part of your overall problem.
It's not that I'm crazy. I'm just need to sleep deprived. More. I think I was listening to David Roach podcast about why and how, what happened to him in Western states, how he DNF'd. And I invite you all to listen to what happened to him. And he had sort of like a brain kind of, something. Yes, it just, something wasn't working. And I was like reflecting on that chat that he was having. And I think I had that similar, and I told you about it. The 2 times that I've DNF'd my first 100 milers, because every time I DNF, it was not because I was injured or because I was sore or because I couldn't. My brain was playing with me because I was getting tired, obviously, like you were mentioning. And then your brain, I think what your brain wants to do is to keep you alive, right? It's just feeling danger and it wants to keep you alive. And to do so, it's going to start playing tricks on you. Yeah. And the trick is like, for example, he was thinking that he convinced himself that he was going to die if he kept going. Yeah. I had that in a 100-miler, thinking my family was visiting, and when we were living in Scotland, and I was doing 100 miles, and my brain convinced me that I needed to be with my family rather than being running. And I remember I called you, and I was like this like frantic thing. I need to be like, why am I doing this? I should be with my family. And you're like, your family is going to be here for 2 more weeks. Like, you just run, like you literally can finish in, half a day, and you'll be here and we'll enjoy and we'll celebrate. I remember you telling me that, but my brain was just so gone, that I was convinced that I needed to be with my family in that moment rather than be there running. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to be with my family because my family is visiting, and I just wanted to be with them. And then now that I think it would not tired, I'm like, that's such a stupid idea, because I could have finished and then we could have like celebrated and enjoyed and but in that moment my brain was way too tired and was making the stupid decision of, I'm just going to DNF because I want to go home with my family.
But while David Roach has not said that his was down to sleep deprivation, he said something else. What you're saying is 100% correct, because even in the other facts I've got here, it's not just the one factor that plays into it with sleep deprivation. There's a lot of things that happens with your body that makes you
tired, you're hungry,
this is my next point.
Body is starting to shut down.
You've got all these different things, and it's
like
just
I was
playing
saying,
with your brain.
I think your brain wants to keep you alive eventually, and it's going to protect you because your brain doesn't know if you want to go for like 5 days straight or whatever. So it's trying to like make you stop, and is going to do anything to make you stop.
Well, see this next fact, right? This is quite interesting because this is another pointer that makes your body think something else is happening, right?
Yeah.
Like you were talking about. So your body stops regulating temperature property when sleep deprived.
Yep.
Science says a study in Chronobiology International showed that after just one night of no sleep, the body's ability to regulate core temperature drops, making athletes more prone to overheating or cold stress.
Yes.
Why it matters is in long races or desert conditions, even well-prepped runners can start to feel off, and often it's not hydration, it's thermoregulation breaking down due to sleep debt.
Yeah. I think it can give you more hot or cold, to be honest, as well. It can be, again, everything is breaking down and your body is just not acting the same way. And again, there is no way to kind of practice those things. It's not like you're going to put yourself through it in training, not as harsh as in for example, the multi-stage. It's difficult to prepare in that way, right? So what I tell my athletes, or when someone's training for this thing, I think the best thing you can do is get there as fit as you can be, the fittest you can be, whatever that means for you. And undertrain, if you want to call it, not overtrain, because that will obviously lead to injury. And be like super rested, like bank on sleep. I think if you have those things, you have way much more chances to push through anything that may happen, because again, you don't know what's going to happen. You have to be almost ready for anything. So I think if you're rested, you will think straight. And if you're fit enough, your body will be able to push through.
We'll see the next one. The next one is something that both of us, well, you've definitely experienced in the past, but I've only experienced recently.
Bonus fact.
Nope.
Oh, no,
not yet.
Sorry.
But this is only number 5. Take it easy. Okay, sleep loss increases perceived effort, even if physical performance stays steady. Science says a 2020 meta-analysis in sports medicine found that sleep-deprived athletes feel like they're working harder, even when their actual output hasn't dropped yet. Why it matters? You might be moving fine, but your brain's telling you this is awful. That's not a weakness. It's a known neurological effect. Know it, expect it, and don't let it derail you.
We spoke about it 100 times.
Yeah.
Definitely. You're going to get into the struggle bus.
Struggle bus.
Into the pain cave and just live there. And just know that it's going to arrive. Know that you're going to be there for a little bit. You're going to be in and out. And like I've always said, again, my advice in all this is just, I like to think it again as a wave and just kind of riding, like surfing. I never surfed, but I think that's how I take it. Just ride the wave. If it's, if you're feeling high, you're like riding it, you're super, feeling great. Awesome. Just like be like, okay, enjoy it. But if you tumble and you're down and then you're underwater and you're like, you just crash, it just know that, oh, okay. Also kind of acknowledge it and just kind of let it go. Like, don't even fight it because your brain is tired already, like we mentioned. And like, it's no point of fighting those feelings. Like, you have no energy. Why waste a little bit of energy and mental capacity you have to kind of fight those feelings? So just don't fight them. Just kind of roll with them and just be okay with them. Know that nothing, it's whatever. And it's just going to.
I tell you the funny thing about that fact, right? When I was looking at it and when I was reading about sleep deprivation, is that I've had 2 runs recently, right? Obviously a lot of runs, but 2 runs in the mountains. Both were sleep deprived because we had 3 hours sleep, maybe the total night. One of them, I felt great, and actually I felt like I'd done such a great job, and I came out of it afterwards. I still had the 2 kilometres in a bit. Here we go, and then you break the 2 kilometres, and then you're fine. And then the other one was different. I just felt a bit off, and I was like, I'm tired. This does feel a bit rubbish. But then later on, another gear kicks in, and I became okay. So I think it's funny. It doesn't affect you all the time. Sleep deprivation for me, which is I thought was
if you're
really
one
strange.
night off, I don't think it's much sleep deprived.
Yeah.
Like sleep deprivation is like over 24 hours. Like, you haven't slept in 24 hours.
But opening it out a little, right? Going back to doing the 5 deserts, there must have been nights in a row that you didn't sleep at all.
I did sleep on and off.
Did you?
I would say a little bit, like 3-4 hours, maybe 5. Yeah. That's enough.
And you felt like
that's
that
not
was
sleep
enough
deprivation.
to carry you through?
Yeah, that's not sleep deprivation. You're you slept, clearly. Sleep deprivation is, I think, over 24 hours. Like you've been up and moving and pushing through. And then also know that you have certain until when your brain is going to break. For example, I know very well myself that I think I can perform 32 to 34 hours good, like okay, without starting to break through. So, sleep deprivation probably will start kicking in probably around the 2 days.
And that might be different for everybody then.
Maybe, yeah. It depends how many hours of sleep did you bank before. But yeah, exactly. But you sleep pretty good in the week, so that shouldn't be, like, they shouldn't hit you hard.
Okay, bonus fact. And this is another one I love. So we love them, and we're sticking with the gut microbes like last week. Because I know you love that one. But you might not love this, chat.
My gut microbes ate a whole bottle of Tabasco this week.
I seen that, yeah. So, bonus fact, your farts change when you're sleep deprived. Science says
farts?
Your farts.
As in like a fart?
As in a fart. So, science says, no joke, a study in scientific reports found that gut microbiota shift after sleep loss, leading to increased fermentation and gassiness, especially if you're still feeling heavily. Why it matters? If you're feeling foggy, emotional, and also crop dusting your tent, you're not dying, you're just tired. Blame the microbes, not the meal.
Yeah, you get pretty farty like day 3, 4 of Cocodona or any.
Or any race.
I like that. Also, probably that's why I blow up a little bit. I get very like bloated, and that's far from water and all the salts and all that. It's gas, to be honest. It's just everything is
I always wondered why our
my microbiota is very Mexican, so
jalapenos.
Tabasco. Full Tabasco bottles. Yes, bring them on. All right. So with that, we are going to talk about this horrible weekend, like you were saying, sleep deprived. I was super sleep deprived this weekend. So again, we tried to go to the mountains this weekend, and we are tried because that didn't go very well. We went the day before, so we go on a Saturday night, afternoonish, camp there, and then run in the morning on the Sunday, really early, bright and early. And then actually Saturdays we go for a little hike before going to bed, and it's actually quite nice. The summer here in Dubai is starting to definitely creep in.
Yeah, it was 50 degrees
I
the other day.
could see the shift definitely now. And we kind of didn't counter that in. I thought, we've been all right the weeks before. So I was like, you know what, we'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And then we tried to start sleeping. We set up our massive tent, all the, fancy Timu gear that we have. And we were about to go to bed, and it was like, 10, 11? The parking lot of this place is massive, right? It's just empty because clearly who's going to camp in summer? Nobody, just us. Anyway, it was all empty. It's a massive car park, public. And then there's this car, 2 cars with like a bunch of families, Indian family. And they just came and parked right next to us. Like literally not even a meter away from us. They just put their car up and started barbecuing, partying, and I'm like, what the actual F? There is a massive area where you can park and do your thing, but why would you decide to go next to us? And you may think, oh, you know what, maybe they didn't know there was people there or whatever. So I very politely opened the window and I said, hey guys, do you mind to keep it low? There's people here trying to sleep.
No, what happened was Tanya opened the window and said, there's people trying to sleep in here. That's what it sounded like. In your head, it might have been different.
Because I had to scream a little bit because they had a very loud music. So I was like, excuse me. And they clearly didn't like it. They just put the volume up.
I'm going to say something that I don't know whether you'll like or whether you won't like.
Okay.
I think that
I know it's public.
Let me finish. I love the fact that we go camping. And what we do is we go and set it up, and we're ready, and then we're getting ready for a run the next day and stuff like that. And we do a wee hike, love it all. But I think we're very naive campers.
Why?
Because one, we expect to have everywhere to ourselves. Two, we don't.
I expect to have personal space.
We underestimate how hot it gets.
Well, that's another. I haven't talked about that.
There's a lot of different factors. As we go through the factors, in my head, I will say to myself, we probably underestimated how bad that would be.
Yeah, the heat, well, obviously. And it started like being midnight, which usually is quite like breezy and cooler up in the mountains, but it was not. And suddenly, there are all these massive millions of mosquitoes came over us. It was carnage.
I have hundreds
of
bites. Hundreds of bites. Do you know, but here's another thing, right, that I was reading about, is that the problem is we thought it was a great idea to get a light. Put a light up. They're attracted by the light.
So maybe that's why between that and there was actually now mosquitoes, because there was no breeze this time. It was just still hot air, which is,
hotter than your Tabasco sauce.
Yes, absolutely. So, here I am, sleep deprived. We couldn't sleep because of between the Indian festival that we had next to us and then the mosquito carnage that was happening. And the heat, because we were sweating buckets. It was impossible to sleep. So I was like, well, we're here anyway. Let's do it. 5 a.m. up and moving. And I bought myself a bagel to have for breakfast. There is a lot of cats around in this area. Stray cats, just roaming around.
With baby cats.
And baby cats.
Kittens.
I know there were a lot of kittens. And we were like, actually, even feed them. Probably that was a bad idea. Anyway, they were just around. And in the morning, I grabbed my bagel. I put it in the top of the car, in the front part. Because, while I was getting ready, putting the shoes. And I was like, giving a bite, put it in there. Turning around, getting the water, getting things, coming back, giving another bite. I think the cats picked up on that.
100%.
And one of those turnaround things, I turned back and there was no bagel. And I was like, did I put it somewhere else? I even thought maybe I misplaced it.
I got the shout, Andy, have you seen my bagel?
And then suddenly I seen a cat with half a bagel in the mouth just running out. And I was like, what? Yeah. The cat stole my breakfast.
And the bagel was a beast.
It was a
giant. I mean, it must have been half the size of the cat.
Yeah. So here I am, no sleep, super hot, like sweating all night. Like we slept in a sauna. And now I have no breakfast. And I was about to face a 3.5 hour, jog through the mountains.
So if you've been following us for a while, you can imagine the mood Tania was in.
I was not happy. I was not happy. I think also I was worried because I knew that was putting me in a really bad position. I know how important food and fueling before running is, and not having anything. I thought, this is going to be, and we don't have anything extra. We now don't bring much extra food because we've realized that the food that we don't eat, it gets to waste. So it's never good to waste food. So I was like, this is putting me in a really bad position. And
guess who suffered?
Andy.
Me, because you got one of my croissants.
Yes, and a banana. That's all I could have kind of halfway through. And anyway, there was no other choice than push through. We were there already and we went on and go for our run.
Well, we met our team.
Yeah, we ran with a group. It was really nice. And then halfway through the run, bonk feeling. Like, that feeling when you're like, my eyes were so heavy. Like if I close my eyes, I could go to sleep. Like that heaviness, you probably felt it if you've done over 24-hour runs kind of thing. And when I was blinking, I could see black patches everywhere. I was like, I am one, or I'm going down, or I'm really sleepy. So I had that in Cocodona as well at some point when I was like, this is not right. My head is suffering.
I was about to say that the only other time I've seen we run quite a lot together now is I've seen it in Cocodona. But the funny thing about this one is it felt like it was waves, because what would happen is you would tell me, just go ahead in front, and I was running, and then I'd stop and I'd look and you'd be right behind me. but how are you feeling? Yeah, I'm okay, just a bit tired. And then we would do like another couple of kilometers and it would be the same thing. And I'd come and I'd stop and I'd be like, are you okay? Like, I'm seeing black spots. I'm like, okay.
I think I'm going to go.
And
I'm
then
going
you would
down.
Be okay. And then you would have a dirt nap. It would felt like
going
it was
down.
Wales.
So I decided to just crawl a little bit and do something I learned through Cocodona experience, dirt naps. So I crawled down, I just closed my eyes for 5 minutes. I don't know if I slept, obviously not, but I just feel like I needed that break in my brain because it was struggling really bad. And it was so hot already as well.
Can I tell you something funny, right? And this is probably my crazy mind.
Uh-oh.
I've never had a dirt nap, but I feel it's a rite of passage that anybody that does long distance should have a dirt nap.
Yeah.
It's like if you've not had a dirt nap, then you've not done long enough. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
listen, I've been running 10 years and this is the first time in my whole adventures that I've done trail naps. So, you don't need to have dirt naps. It's just, I guess, when you cross, I guess, like 3-4 days, yeah. I think it's needed. But yeah, you don't need to. You're awesome the way you are anyways. So no, you don't need a door now to prove yourself. So with that said, with our awful weekend out of the way, let's just start digging into Cocodona because I think this is something that everyone wants to hear about. I've got a lot of questions about. Let's just start again. Let's start from the beginning because this is the first question I get all the time. How the hell did you get into Cocodona or I guess ultra running altogether? So let's take the whole story from the top. Okay.
That was very dramatic.
Okay. I'm thinking like, where should I start? Well, there was this time this baby Tania. No, not that far.
That was
not that far behind. So I think 10 years ago, I started running, right? And it was by pure chance that I discovered trail running. And my passion for long distances, I think, came after I did my first Spartan race, which was just like a 15-kilometer one. And I realized there was like this trail kind of running between trails. And I was like, oh, this is fun. And I Googled Facebook, I think it was in that time. Instagram, I know I'm going to sound super old. But there was no Instagram. And Facebook was just kind of getting there. Like Facebook was the Google for everything. And I found there was only like a handful of races in Mexico at that time for trails. So I found out one, it was a 50K. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like I could do it. Just why not? Right. So from pretty much not running much, because I was doing, like I said, the Spartans. And I've trained like couple of months for a Spartan, not even that much. So from that to doing my first 50K, it was six months. I trained 6 months for that first 50K. And after that, when I finished that 50K, I was crying. I was like, oh my God, this is the most difficult thing I've ever done. But hey, I finished it. And I thought, I didn't die. I mean, it was hard, but I didn't die. And I seen there was another race of 60 kilometers. So I was like, I think I could do an extra 10. And I mean, I was tired, but I could definitely survive another 10. So when I did that 60, I finished it. Again, you start thinking, well, that was hard, but I didn't die. So, look, there's an 80.
A little bit more.
And there's 100. And so on. And I think that's the story everyone kind of repeats, right? And then 5 years ago, I made a pact with myself that every year I will, because I realized that I don't like, and you should not never compare yourself to your neighbor, right? But I think it's also good to have like a good competition sort of thing, that kind of a healthy kind of competition. And there's no healthier competition than the one that you have with yourself, because that's the only person you can really kind of compare yourself with, because I'm never going to compare myself with the Tania of 10 years ago, right? Because it was different. But, this is sort of the game that I started playing 5 years ago. So by that time, I've been running 5 years, really just for fun of it, never, too intense, I think. And then after 5 years, I made that pact with myself that I said, every year, Tania, you have to do one thing that scares you or puts you, that it's a challenge. And now I realize this thing is called the misogi. It's
a what?
A misogi. It is a Japanese movement, and everyone now is doing it. Obviously not because it's on Instagram, but I've been doing it for 5 years ago, and I didn't know there was a thing.
Misogi. Okay.
It's you pick one challenging thing for your year, and you kind of work towards it, and you do it, and you kind of, that's the focus of your year, right? Like I said, funny enough, I've been doing it for 5 years. I didn't even know. I just thought, I need something to kind of, work towards, because otherwise, I don't know, I will go crazy. So every year I said, okay, every year you need to do something bigger or larger than the previous year. And that's sort of how I started, kind of plotting something year after year that it's bigger or for me, right? It doesn't matter that it's for anybody else. For me, maybe it started doing, I said, I used to do 1 ultra a year. And then I said, okay, I'm going to do 2 the first year. For me, that was, I was doing something different and bigger than last year, right? Instead of 1 race, I did 2, and then I did 4, and then I did 5, and then I did something a little bit more challenging of the case of maybe choosing one that was in extreme conditions, like super cold or navigate, like where you needed navigation skills. So it doesn't need to be maybe longer, but it needed to be challenging and different.
Question.
For
those who have not followed the podcast from series 1, you got into running, right? Joining a run club in Chicago, and you ran and trained for a marathon, didn't you?
Yeah.
So what was the time between the completion of that marathon to like your first ultra?
7 years.
7 years, was it that long?
I said I will never run again after I finished that marathon because that was horrendous.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was scarred for life.
Next question.
I never run.
Next question. We've recently talked about in your head and the mentality of being able to do distance. Do you think that having the marathon under your belt, in your head somewhere, you thought, I can do an ultra anyway, so that would, right, okay. For me.
For you. I know you want to do something. Yeah.
Because my mind is ticking over all the time about me going from doing half marathons.
I think it's good that I'm doing this like summary, because now you can see yourself a little bit more into this, where you are in your
where I fit into it.
Journey.
Yeah.
And I think everyone listening as well. I mean, Andy just started running a year and
half ago.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting, probably to listen to how I came about to these. And it didn't happen in a year, clearly. Like what I'm saying is it's a timeline of 10 years.
Yeah.
And when I made the shift was 5 years ago. And that's where, again, I tried to do something bigger and larger every year. And that's sort of where it started leading me to look and research for something, right? And this race came about 2 years ago in my radar, Cocodona250. I seen it, I think, in YouTube. Obviously, they have an awesome live stream. And I thought, oh my God, that looks like something really difficult. But I said, oh my God, like 250 miles. Like how the longest I've done when I seen this race was 100 miles. And I couldn't bear the idea to do twice and more than that. There was no chance I would survive that, because the 100 miles took me what, 4 years to conquer, and three tries. I failed at the 100 mile 3 times in a time span of 4 years, I think. So that was my big goal. And again, in your way there is absolutely fine to fail. I didn't say fail. I think I learned a lot. At the moment, I feel like crap, clearly, because I was a new runner and everything required validation for me. Yeah. I think I felt really bad the first DNFs in my life. I felt like I was not good enough. Like I shouldn't be there. Like why? Who the hell I was thinking I was to try to even
imposter
do that?
syndrome.
Yeah, I was like, why would I think I could do 100 miles if I was maybe I was not the thinnest. I've never been, and I will never be. Just my physiognomy is just not like that. And, seeing these like super, fast, skinny runners, I was like, why am I even putting myself into this that I'm going to be, like it's not. So I took the DNFs pretty harshly. So trying again for a couple of times was really hard, not only physically, but I think mentally to convince myself, to do that work of convincing myself that you can try it. Like, it doesn't matter that you're slow. It doesn't matter that you look the way you look, or it doesn't, you just, I think you can do it. And the year that I finished the 100 miler, which is that slab that I have on top there. Yep. I think that's the year, and you've said it a couple of times, that changed everything. Because I think I realized, because I was able to quiet that voice in my head saying, you're not good enough. Finally, after 3 years, I had finally like sharpened my toolkit enough to, whenever those thoughts were coming, my tool was like super sharp, and that I was able to kill it. And that's the day that everything changed in my mind, just in the sense of I stopped thinking I wasn't kind of good enough to run or to do those distances, to even try. And I was just...
You had a real belief in yourself.
I had belief in myself.
You had a real belief in yourself after that.
Exactly. I think with that, and then it helped that I could prove it now. I had the proof that you can actually do it, because I am holding the buckle that I can actually do it. So that was a really good reassurance of knowing that I can feel it now. I can, I can do it. So after that, I was like, I think we should do for something, a little bit harder. And that's when, again, that Cocodona250 plan came to my head. And certainly I was like, there is no chance right now I can face a 250 mile. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to like scrape it off and be like, oh, that's too difficult. That's too far away. I'm not going to. So instead, I started always thinking, how can I become the person that can do that? Like, what do I need to do in order to do that? And I think that I apply that in my life, in all my life. If I want something, it's not like, oh, that's too difficult. That's too hard. Oh, no, I'm not going to be. I'm like, okay, how can I work around, like, what can I need to do to be the person that is going to fit that, or conquer that, or try that?
I remember after the White Horse, when you done when you done 100, it must have been at like maybe about a week or so later when you started to recover properly. You said about Cocodona. I'm like, oh, Cocodona, that's fine. It's like, he said, I think I can do it. I'm like, right, okay, so tell me a bit more about it. He said it's 250 miles. I was like, 250 miles? And I think for me, for someone that wasn't into the sport and didn't understand runner's math at that point, I was kind of like, that has just seemed unrealistic. Yeah. But then, in your head, when you started breaking it down and explaining it, you start thinking to yourself, well, do you know what?
How can I do this? How can I become this person? So I started reading. Well, I was like, sharing with Andy and just reading more information about the race, is that you can cover this distance in days. So I said, okay, that means that I will have to run or do this effort for a couple of days, at least 4 or 5 days. I think it goes to 6 days, 5 days, I think. 5 days. So I said, how can I train myself, my brain, my everything to run? I haven't done running 5 days, like one day by, not even in training. In training, I used to do one day running, the other day something else, kind of like, but not even running day back to back to back to back to back. And such a massive distance is such a massive effort. So I was reading, and there was this thing called stage racing, right? Thought, that's excellent. I think this is something we could do. And that's when I I read about Ultra X, and that was my first one. It was a stage race, 6 stages. You did not carry your kit. They carry the kit for you. It's in the desert. So I thought, okay, I think that's doable. That would be a really nice kind of like tipping my toe into like the back-to-back kind of running. and I just want to see how I feel with that.
You were so excited about going to that race. I remember. You had a bit of nervousness about you, I remember, but you were so excited about going to that.
So I went that. I loved that race. It's a very good experience, and I finished it. And it's not that I was like, but I think it was too easy for me.
That is the first thing when you came back. Well, actually, because I met you in Jordan, remember?
Yeah.
It was the first thing that you said. You said to me, I feel a little bit let down because it wasn't as hard as I expected it to be.
It was not hard. So I was like, okay, I think if I want to do the Cocodona, I always has been Cocodona in my head since that moment, right? So I said, okay, that was not challenging enough. I think the Cocodona thing is going to be very challenging. I think we need to raise up the bar a little bit. So then I started reading about these stage races that then you have to carry your kit. So that adds an extra layer of...
It's strength more than anything else, isn't it?
Of mental strength, physical strength, endurance, everything. From being uncomfortable, carrying your own thing, of being like almost self-sufficient kind of part of it as well. So I was like, okay, this can be the next step to kind of see how I feel with this challenge. So that's when I Googled and I seen Racing the Planet. And the idea was to do one. But then obviously I started reading about it. And there was like these series of races that if you do the 4 deserts, you conquer this level. You're the 4th desert runner. And then there was like this new thing, or not new thing, it has been a couple of years, but it's like the ultimate like beast challenge of endurance racing that is 5 of them in a year, and it's only been like a handful of people in the world that have done it. There is a couple of renowned athletes that have done it, Incarnaces, and there's other like really worldwide known athletes in endurance. And I Google, like they have like a sort of like a Hall of Fame kind of in the website, just like with the names and the pictures of people that have finished it. And with their country, this person from Australia, the first one in Australia, or this is the youngest one in the world that finished it. And there was no Mexican.
Let me paint the picture.
And that's where my eyes were like.
I'm sitting there and you're going through it all, and I could see this light bulb or this thing strike you. And you turned around and said to me, I'm going to be in the record books. Because you have always there's always been this thing where you're like, oh, I want to be in the record books. I want to be famous for something.
My name is going to be in the history.
I'll tell you all a funny story. A few years back before this, Tania sat down and she said to me, people are getting into the Guinness Book of Records for the craziest things. Or like how many spoons they can sit in their ears, or how long they can sit in their hands, or how long they can stand on one foot.
Stupid things.
I want to get in those record books. I want my name to be in those books
I
somewhere.
Still have to work towards that.
You were searching for things, but you said to us, you know what? I could be the first Mexican to do this.
Yes, that's not a world record, by the way.
It's not.
It's not.
Still the first.
But that's another story for another day. Still working on that one. If you have an idea, let us know. Because I want, even for the most stupid thing. I don't care. How many jumps in 1 foot can I do? I mean, I don't know. You guys shoot me one that, I can do something stupid. I'll do it.
How many oranges you can balance in your hand?
Yeah, like anything, man.
Anything.
Anyway, so yes, I seen that website. They have all the names with all the profiles. And I was like, I want to be there. Like, that's yes, let's do it.
You were hooked.
That's it. So I was like, by that point, I've already signed up for Cocodona for the following year, because I said that is going to be my big project, and I will give myself this year to prepare for that. So that was March 2024 till March 2025. That kind of carried on because that's how the calendar was. So that's how the crazy story. And I'm just putting all these led to Cocodona because I think it's important to understand why I am going to step the toe in that start line 4 weeks after finishing my last desert, my 5th desert, Atacama. So when I started running Cocodona, I had already 1,250 kilometers in my legs in that year, only racing through crazy, crazy terrains in extreme weather conditions. And I was just very tired mentally. I think we spoke about enough about how tired I was physically, I was mentally, how destroyed my body was. That this extreme challenge is something that I didn't, when I signed up, clearly I was very excited, but I was not ready for the breakdown that my body will take. I think it was something I never thought about. But regardless of that, we had already signed up. So after finishing Atacama, we were 4 weeks after going by Cocodona250. Something that we've, like I was telling you, we've been preparing for almost 2 years since the idea, the light bulb kind of turned on. And I said, okay, I want to do it. How can I get myself? How can I be the person that can do it? I think if I do a couple of trainings that are back to backs, I will. So I decided I'll do the 5 deserts as training year for Cocodona. Maybe I miscounted, or the kind of calendar worked not great in my favor. But also, that's not one of the reasons. I didn't feel. I don't think that's why it led to my DNF toll.
No, I don't think so either.
If you ask me. So that's the sort of background story. So you can imagine that I've been binging on every Cocodona blog, YouTube video, Instagram, reel, anything.
We were Cocodona'd out.
Yes. Cocodona.
We got to Cocodona. We knew more about Cocodona than Cocodona did.
Probably. We spoke with the race director. We were absolutely Cocodona it. And the day that we arrived to Phoenix, we hired a camper van. We drove to our Airbnb, slept for the night, and the next day was going to be the day that we'll drive down the ranch where is the start line. And that day we drove down. It was very close. I think it was around 20-30 minutes from where we were, because there's really nothing close by. And I remember when I seen that start line, oh my God, my heart stopped.
I mean, even for me, I felt a bit overwhelmed by it all. I think because
it was...
For me, it's like the race of the race, and we've been talking about it and watching about it for 2 years, and to actually get there, it's almost you feel starstruck by the race, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I feel like
strange.
I was getting to like, when you're traveling somewhere and you're like, oh, I want to see, I don't know, the Eiffel Tower, and you're like,
that's exactly it.
It's like you're going to see this historic monument or whatever, people that are like really into like, I don't know, history or whatever. It was like that for me. So when I stepped there and I seen the star line, I was like, it's real, it's here. Yeah. After, so many, I've been dreaming, like, it sounds cheesy, but seriously, yeah.
And I was like the crew, pace up, videographer as well. I'm walking about with a
camera.
With a camera and this cage on it and everything, filming it all.
Let me tell you something. It is overwhelming. That's the word. Because obviously, apart from being something that I've been thinking about, preparing myself for, just being in that place was just magical. And it was going to like the Oscars of ultra running. Everyone was there. I think Bypass put up a hail of a race.
Oh, yeah.
So much that everyone wants to be there. I think this year, tickets sold in 7 minutes. So for something that is so crazy, insane.
And it even has like famous pacers. Do you know what I mean? There's people that pace other runners that are famous. You know what I mean? It's like...
There is. And then that's so where we're just walking around the expo. They have, tents everywhere. You can buy things. And I went and pick up my bib number because, that's what it is. I went to pick my bib number and I did my line to take my photograph.
Yeah.
That photograph, by the way, is an iconic mugshot, they call it, right? The mugshot. And it's so iconic because you see it everywhere. All the participants have a mugshot from before and after. And I'm like, remember what I told you about the 5 deserts that I want my name to be in the website? Well, in my head, I want that picture of before and after. So I knew that picture was the before picture that I've been dreaming, that I'm like, I'm almost there. I just need to cross the 150 miles and I will have in my head those 2 photographs.
And when they're talking about you on the broadcast, they put that picture up. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah? Yeah, because that's the mugshot for all the participants. Yeah. And, I took my mugshot and I think that's when I was like more excited. That's when it kind of sank in that I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually doing this. And then we were walking around there and suddenly I seen these like massive people gathering together. Like I said, there are so many like well-known runners, right? There is, again, I seen Andrew Gaze there. I seen Kylie Binson, which is a massive, I follow her on Instagram. She's great. And obviously so many, everyone's running around with like media crews and, it's again, like the Oscars. And suddenly I turn around and I see Courtney Walker people. That was the moment that I was like, oh my God, I can't believe she's real. I know I'm such a, yeah.
Well, the funny thing is I had actually, because she's sponsored by Salomon, obviously. Yeah. Remember, I'd bought a Salomon hat.
Yeah.
To bring with us.
And you forgot it,
and
of course.
Forgot it. I was thinking, I'll get it in the start line. And you said to me, can't give her a bloody hat in the start line.
This guy.
So, yeah, so that was a bad idea.
Rookie.
Novice.
Anyway, so we were there and she was there giving, pictures with everyone. They were saying, I think we got her quite early because there was no queue or no nothing. So I, stumbled up her and say, hey, can I take a picture with you? And I even got her to say a couple of words on the Instagram. You may see it in my socials. And just ask, like I said, it's my first 200. What's your advice? And she's like, just put one step in front. Like she was so kind. Like she was taking the time for everyone to have a couple of words. It was not like, oh, take a photo. Okay, yeah, thank you, bye. Like she was actually asking you things. And like, I thought that was such a nice gesture of her. And then I came back and I got a hat.
And ran back over to get it signed.
Autographed it by Courtney. Girl goals. Sorry, but that's she's the ultimate goat, right? So she was there and she was like a bunch of runners and pick up my number and just pretty much I didn't stay for the shakeout run and I didn't stay for the chat because I think they were going to upload it to the live stream. Yep. I just want to go to the house and get all the stores sorted because again we were traveling and the day before, so I think like everything was a mess. They asked for rain gear because they had forecast of rain, and I didn't have gear pants. The waterproof pants, so we had to go and get them. So that day was a little bit hectic in the morning before going to pick up the race bib. So we had like everything was all over the place. So I decided to go back home. We decided to go back home and kind of get that all sorted. So last episode, I told you about my cheat sheet that I have that I'll show you behind my phone. So I had everything kind of separated, but it was time to kind of leave it well organized, not for me, but for my crew, for example. So my mom was the chief crew. So everything that and then kind of like have that crew meeting. So in these crew meetings, I think it's really important to set your expectations, what you want, what you don't want. And I would say it's very difficult to pick your crew. And I think it's also very difficult if it's people close to you, because you may come across maybe very harsh in some things, but I think it's the time where, you can't be too sentimental about things. It's kind of like work as a team, as like we have a job and, this is what she wants and that's what we need to do. So my mom was the crew chief. She's awesome. I know I can put my life in line saying that if I ask her to be somewhere at some point at whatever time, it doesn't matter what happens. Even if a freaking tornado happens, I know she will be there. Like she is woman that would solve anything. Like, I don't know. She's just that crazy and amazing that I know I can put, like, I'm confident that she will put anything together. So she was the chief crew. So whatever she said, I told the crew whatever she said and decisions that she makes, that is a person. My dad was going to be the one driving around, and kind of him alongside with Andy will be putting the GPS. That's something I also left them very clearly. The points where we already said where we're going to meet them. So kind of like plot them into the GPS, make sure that, you know, they're okay to drive there. And then I put all my bags sort of divided into not only the checkpoints where I was going to see them, but also, let's say, the bag of all my headlamps, of all the chargers, of all the medical bag, extra, you know, socks, and sort of like put bundles of things. So whenever I got there and if something I really wanted to change, or why not, they would be able to, you know, to pull it out fairly quickly. And all the notes as well, so they knew where. So if in the notes I put that I wanted to change socks or I wanted to do this, they kind of knew where the things were when I got there, because, you know, when I get there, it's like, Tania, you need to change socks in this one. So they will be already like out and ready for me. So those are the things that you kind of have to tell them, because they are not going to, you know, obviously know. And then they're not going to read your brain, and they don't, and more if they're not in the sport, obviously you have to kind of like tell them what I said was expecting. And also I had 2 pacers that I was able to rally from Facebook. I don't know them, so it was kind of exciting to meet people along the way. I never met them, but they were kind enough to, I posted on Facebook. That's how amazing the community is. I put there on Facebook that I needed a couple of pacers just to not be alone through several places in the route. And there was people that, you know, raised their hands, and some other people said, oh, these girls looking for pace, and that's how Emma came along, which I will present you them later on. And also telling them where they need to be. I didn't see them that day, but, you know, like messaging them and tell them where to be at what time. And I think I gave that to Andy. So I put my phone in airplane mode just for the battery. So I really don't have like how to contact them. So you guys will have to, I was like, you guys have to figure it out. Just make sure, you know, if the pacers know where to be and at what time, and roughly estimate timings for that. And that's it. Just kind of like leave everything, you know, ready. And the night before, surprisingly, I did sleep very well. I actually had a decent sleep. I think I was feeling pretty calm overall. Like, I was nervous, but calm in the sense of I kind of knew what was coming, obviously pain, uncomfortableness, but I also knew that I had all the mental toolkit to solve most of the things. So that calms me down a lot, and saying like, I think I can solve anything that comes my way.
I think you felt pretty organized, which was
yes,
the whole
and
point.
also that helps, obviously, knowing that everything is under control. So that's great having a crew there to know that, okay, if you fall, you kind of like they got your back. But I think also it was such a massive undertaking that I had no idea, no expectations. I had no idea what to worry about. Like, it was too big to understand, if that makes sense. It's like, I cannot be worried or scared about something I've never experienced. Like, I have no idea. It was almost like my first ultra again. Like, you're nervous, but you're like, I don't know what to be nervous about. Like, what, you know, I really don't know what I'm facing. I'm here again. I may not be in the fittest, in the more, you know, best shape possible, or, you know, I'm towing the line maybe a little bit, you know, rough from the 5 deserts. Maybe I'm still a little bit not 100% recovered, but I'm not my fittest or strongest self. But, you know, I think I can push through, and I had that belief, and with that belief, you know, I had to. So the morning of the race, it was, again, I was feeling very calm. I had actually a pretty decent sleep.
But I think on race day, and this is with every race day with you, whether you sleep or not, when you get up out of bed, you have this mode that you go into where, like, I need this, I need that, and to pick up. You've got a system of things that you just fall into to make sure you have everything right.
Yeah, I put everything the night before, to be honest, because
but even mentally, you can see
mentally,
it. You know what I mean? You're like focusing on.
Can you see like how Merenguita? So my selfie, my alter ego starts taking over. Like I say, I don't think Tania won't be able to do any of these feats at all. It's Merenguita, which is my alter ego. She just takes over, and she's a badass here, not me. And you can see her starting to kind of like wake up as well. It's just more of a mental, exactly, awakening. Just kind of like knowing like, hey, you're going to have to be needed here for the next couple of days. But I knew I was going to be able to solve it. And with that, I was, towing the line. We got there. I was eating through all the morning. And I picked up my GPS. They give you that in the morning of the race. And just kind of waiting. We didn't wait for too long. And again, just seeing that star line, I think it's like the epic star, like the ultimate moment. I almost cry in every start line when I'm like, not the deserts ones, but almost in the ones that are very big, like very challenging. Like I'm always crying because I think I'm too scared. I think that's the reason I'm very scared. That's the only word. I was just scared.
It's interesting as being part of the crew or somebody even being there, because see, you obviously going to the start line, I could see you're not anxious. It's like a nervous happiness.
I don't think I was happy at all.
It's difficult emotion to explain, but when you're standing there waiting for the gun to go off, you can see everybody's faces are so concentrated, and all you can see is the headlamps.
Yeah.
So you can see the headlamps and then just these faces looking around. Some people are smiling, they're really experienced people and having a chat with people, but you can see everyone, it's like they've got this thing in their face, they're just ready to go, and the headlamp is shining out.
Isn't
There's
it?
like obviously I can't remember how many there are, but on the start line, imagine all those headlamps and all those faces just ready to go. Really interesting.
I think it's also because the atmosphere. Can you feel it in the atmosphere? Like all the. I do believe in vibes. I know it's gonna sound, but you can feel it.
Yeah.
So when you enter the coral, like the place where, behind, because I had to say goodbye to them. Clearly they couldn't go, and I give them the last hug because I won't see them for the next day and a half or something, 110 kilometers, and the first push is really hard, so I knew it was my last.
Which was a late decision, by the way, because that wasn't something that we decided right away.
It was my last hug, like, okay, bye everyone. It's like you're saying your last goodbyes. And I walked into the coral. When I stood there alone, I don't know anybody. There was people chatting around and stuff, but I truly felt alone. Like I was with nobody, and I knew that was a time that that's going to be my reality for the next 5 days. And this is all you've got, just yourself. And I think, and then you have like, you are alone yourself, and in front of you, you have 250 miles of a challenge. So I think I was one of the scariest moments of my life. I was crying. I was like shaking. I couldn't control myself. Bro, you guys didn't see it because you guys were already like in the other side. Yeah. But I was like crying, shaking. Like I couldn't just. I don't know. My brain was. I was fine, but it was just the reaction of my brain. I think like maybe a little bit of nervousness with like adrenaline, and that's why probably I was shaking. And then I was close to the spectators, kind of next to the gate. And there was this guy that like grabbed my hand, like, oh, don't worry, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Yeah. And he like stroked my hand, and that was so kind of him. It didn't help much, but
I think if you consider that it's been 2 years in the build up to this, I mean, and you're actually standing there ready to go, it's probably a lot of different emotions at the one time,
That exactly, like personal emotions, and then feeling everyone's emotions as well. That is just adds up, and is just a build up that is exciting, scary, and all of that. But yeah, I think if you ask me, that is my least favorite thing of a race. I hate feeling like that. I hate it. I hate those 5 minutes. I know some people love it, but like those 5 minutes where you are just behind, the gate thing and just waiting. I hate it. I feel vulnerable. I feel scared. I just don't like it. Once the gun goes and I started taking my first steps, it's gone. Everything is gone. Marigita is full mode on. Alter ego. And she's not scared of anything. Like she is just like, okay, my turn. Like it's like flipping a switch. It's just so funny in my brain. It's like Tania was in that moment where she was scared, like it was like vulnerable, I was crying. And then when I just cross that start line, it's just all gone. I think it's just because I feel relaxed. It's something that's already started. There's no more anticipation. And then you can relax and just relax. I know it sounds crazy, but that's when I relax. Like it's all gone. Like you've traveled, you train, you put everything together. Like sometimes even in the 5 deserts, that's what I was saying. It was harder to get to the race than actually start the race. That's the easy part now.
But I think what happens is, and you can see it from the other side, is when the gun goes, it's just a release of energy. And what happens is everybody's going, they're screaming, you feel like you're making that first step into the wilderness. And even like I know I was saying about the headlamps, seeing everybody running, there's a smile on their face at that point, and then they go off into the darkness and all you see is the headlamps just going up the mountains, you know what I mean? And then it's gone. But for me, it's definitely, you can see that it's almost a relief or a release of energy when people are crossing that start line and the gun goes off.
Yeah. I don't know. Tell me how we feel, start line people. Am I the only crazy person that is crying here, her eyeballs out? Because I was looking around and everyone looked pretty okay.
I had our shit together.
I was the only one, like, I was panicking. But yeah, that doesn't stop us to do things. If you're going to do things with that scare you, do them with fear. It's okay to be scared sometimes. It won't get better. Of course.
In this case.
It gets worse because you start doing harder and harder things, so it never stops. But yes, so that was the
warm-up
for the first 50 miles that we're going to talk about next episode, and the hardest 50 miles of that Cocodona course. So you'll have to tune in for next week. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let me know what you thought about today's episode. Follow us, please, on Spotify. Give us a wee star in there. Put your comments in there if you're finding this useful. If you're laughing with us, if we're making your runs a little bit easier and a little bit more fun. I do listen to our podcast sometimes when I'm running. I have to say I do laugh. I don't know if
it makes your run go quicker.
I don't know if I'm laughing because it's me or because we're actually, or like it's interesting. But yeah, let me know what you think, and I'll see you all next week. Thank you so much for listening, and remember to keep doing whatever makes you ultra happy.